you let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
Monday. Hey, everybody. It's good to have you here for a new week. And I am really excited to navigate these waters with you. And what waters they are. It's just one of those things. We've got more military fun happening. Fun. And I can't wait to just listen to you guys. I'm going to be opening up the lines. And I want to hear your thoughts, your theories. I've got so much media to get through from this weekend and the war that has ensued, that has begun and ensues. The real question is, though it has begun, when will it end? How limited an engagement will it be? And even whether it lasted 4 hours, 4 weeks, as it's being said, or 4 months, 4 years. Because we've already been through a 20-year stint recently ended. Are you down with the mission? And there is plenty to be said about the mission at hand and who benefits the most, because we've got liberation. We've got liberation talk about peoples being liberated, but I'll tell you something. Are the people who make out the most in this the Venezuelans who have been who've had the cord cut from Maduro, or the Ayatollah who is now dead? Is it the Iranians, the Iranian people? Are the little people really the ones who benefit the most? And what is your theory? What's your thought on the greater play here? Because man, oh man, there's so much. There's so much. You've probably seen so much shit. And you probably already have your own opinions and your own stances on things. And it is really hard to be in my position tonight, because almost anything you say is going to get you labeled a shill or a simp or a retard or a panikin. Depending on where you're coming from, it's either shill, simp, retard, or panikin. And you can probably blend a few of those together and create some sort of a smoothie, some sort of a retard cocktail. And then that's just really it. So that's why I'm happy that I have the show that I do, because once you guys and gals get involved, then we just get to spitball off each other. And when things like this happen, I usually get prepared for what is a little bit of a homecoming. You know? I know how the media landscape is, especially with shows like mine that are live all the time, not only for regularly scheduled shows, but also bonus shows like the B-sides that we do for specific time zones and specific bits and all that other stuff. And everybody's got lives and everybody has full schedules. So, you know, every once in a while, there's a galvanizing event that calls all of our friends home. And we see a lot of people we haven't seen in a little while. So with that being said, I hope you just come on to the porch here and pull up a chair and hang out. Let me know what the hell you're thinking and where this is all going. First thing we can do is just go right to, oh, by the way, later on in the show, I will be reading off the 4 winners from the Keto Brainz raffle from February. Got 4. We got the grand prize winner and then the 3 runners up. And for this week, starting tonight with the Super Chat raffle, and I'll be giving it away on Thursday. I think on Thursday, I'm trying to get Matt and Jay in on Thursday. Matt said I'll be around this week. Well, we'll see. But for Thursday, there's one thing I'm starting off here with is 3 mint silver quarters. 90%. They're George Washington quarters, but it's a recent minting. I think it must be special edition. This was sent to me by a wonderful guy out in the audience. His name is Michael Holder, and he sent me a whole roll. He said, "I would love for you to give these out piecemeal to people in the audience." I said, "You got it, man. I absolutely will." So I'm going to match him. And these 3 wonderful silver quarters that I'm going to put into the Super Chat raffle for this week is going to be matched by 3 gold backs. So you're going to get silver and gold, whoever wins. And all you got to do is send a Super Chat to YouTube or Rumble or quite frankly, superchat.com or the gold pills, and they will accrue over the course of the week, and we will pull a name on Thursday night. So silver and gold so far, and we'll see what else we layer in as the week goes on. All right. Let's just listen to this. Let's listen to this, okay? And then I'm going to open up lines, and I want to see what you guys think. There's a 6-minute address that was made. This was yesterday, I think. It was over the weekend, and President Trump just gave a little bit of an update of what was going on in Iran. So take a listen to this. We'll jump around a little bit. Either way, it'll go by quick.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it.
Never. I mean, its name is Epic Fury.
We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, it was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives.
That's the whole. See, this is where we're going to have a big sticking point tonight. This is where we're going to have a big sticking point for as long as this is going on, and then every time it is brought up in perpetuity from here on in, is what is the righteous mission? Because, man, everybody, there are so many takes on this, and the divide is so hard. It's a hard divide. And I don't know, the definition of the righteous mission is really, there's absolutely no consensus on that. And I just want to let you know and to remind you, as if you needed reminding, I understand that we are not in a need-to-know basis when it comes to military action and what's going on there. But as far as understanding from a national security standpoint why we're doing something, I can't give you intel that I don't have, so I can only be honest with you. And I said it on Saturday night. I said the messaging on the The messaging on all this stuff really makes less sense than the reasons that we were given as to why we had to take. We were for so many years trying so hard to get Assad out of Syria. And that nonsensical use of gas bombs. Why would he ever use that? It doesn't make any damn sense. And every time somebody was going to go testify, we have the proof, we can't show it to you. The evidence thereof was never provided. And, I mean, as long as I've been alive, all I've heard about Iran this, Iran that. Oh boy. And I never got it. And I know that people have different opinions on that and the urgency and the need and whether or not they were an existential threat. Some people say that they have declared war on the United States 47 years ago. And then it doesn't seem like that was was it officially done? I looked around. I couldn't find that. I mean, if the standard is to take out anybody who chants death to America, then I mean, are you creating the predicate to bomb Berkeley? I mean, there's probably more people chanting death to America on a regular basis on college campuses in the United States than even Iran, a country of 90 million or something like that. Anyway, let's keep listening.
We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do.
See, that's the whole thing. I also think about the richest, the safest, the most secure. I don't think that, I mean, are we? Are we? You could say that there's a lot to be. Maybe there's that goal there. There's a goal. I really hope you guys call in soon. When I throw those lines open, this is going to go all over the place. There's only like a couple of minutes left. I just have to have this on the record for the years to come.
But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons.
This doesn't move the needle for me. It doesn't move the needle for me. Maybe I'm not really up on the background of Iran. I'm really not just. I don't know everything that I should know as to why we're using this language and why we're talking about Americans who are now dead and wounded, and that there's going to be more. I don't understand. I guess I just don't understand it, and I don't pretend to have perfect knowledge when I go on air. But this is happening right now, and I'm just letting you know what my starting point is. I'm probably going to layer in a few other things there too at some point, but still.
Allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people.
Okay. Well, I mean, that was just yesterday, I believe. Earlier today, we had at this, I guess the president was speaking with Jake Tapper. And this report went live, 39-second clip from CNN this morning. Apparently, Trump spoke to Tapper, and this is what we got.
Asked the president if the U.S. was doing more than these military strikes to help the Iranian people regain control of Iran against the regime, to seize the country from the Iranian regime. And he said, yes, the president said, yes, we are indeed. But right now we want everyone staying inside. It's not safe out there. And then the president said, it's about to get even less safe. He said, quote, we haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon. We asked him about a bunch of other stuff, too, that I'm writing up, and we'll share later on The Lead at 5 p.m.
You know, and again, we're going back to the whole liberation thing. I root on Catalonia. I want to see Catalonia declare independence from Spain. You know, I love independence movements. I'd love to see people taking care of business. You know, I'd love to see Iranians take care of business at home. We don't take care of business over here at home. The people that fuck with us constantly, that have made American life impossible to even comprehend at this point. It's such a distant memory of, I don't know. You could say that even millennials really didn't even have a taste of it. That's how long ago it really was. But I think about this saying, well, I guess my opinion really doesn't even matter. Doesn't jack shit in the grand scheme of things, I guess. You know, though I'll happily share it with you, and I hope that you share it with me. But whether there is a bright side or a silver lining, like everything else to this thing or not, it's really just wait and see as always. I mean, some people feel it's their job to tell everybody how outraged they are and how badass this is and all, and just wait and see how great it's going to be. And maybe it will somehow. And maybe it won't, or maybe it'll just be treading water for God knows how many years, and you know, unforeseen circumstances. There's moves and counter moves. I know all the pivot points there, but I don't know. This just doesn't hit me as one or the other. To be outraged or how badass. Is it outrageous or is it badass? And hell yeah, this is a great step forward. I'm just kind of with this. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little burnt out. Maybe I'm just still a little burnt out, but I want to get into what people are selling on this for sure. Like, for example, there is here's Pete Hegseth. There's just like basic questions that come up for me along the way. Pete Hegseth. This is a 22-second long clip from Fox News, I believe, this morning.
Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change.
Like, what are we talking about? What do you? Like I said before, there are probably more people chanting death to America in American schools right now. But I don't think we're going to go bomb Berkeley, are we? And this is not a regime change war, but the regime sure did change. So then what is that? Then what is that? You can't just, if it's a regime change war, just let me know. Just let everybody know. So listen, this is not. Now, I know that the language from what Trump had said the day before yesterday about just pretty much going and telling Iranians, hey, this is your time. Take back your country. We're not occupying it. And that is obviously from when you're talking about positioning and posture, that is a major difference from Iraq. So is it Iraq 2.0? I don't think so, just because at least for now, it does not seem that occupation and prolonged occupation at that is in any way, shape, or form what's being done for. That's just it. Now the question I had when I hear Pete Hegseth say something like that is obvious to me. You know, I know that financially it's a lot different to strike, obliterate, and then leave versus obliterate and then occupy for 20 years. And, you know, people are talking about, listen, it's not Vietnam, it's not Afghanistan. You know, we stayed there for long. We got our asses kicked. Well, it was only an ass kicking on the outside. When you think, whenever anybody brings up Vietnam and Afghanistan, those, like, you know, Vietnam, of course, was that beta version of a Gladio war that moved out of the European theater and then into like Asia, where it's all fueled by drug trafficking and so many other things, the poppy fields and everything else. It looked like an absolute loss to us because it was. You're losing people, you're losing tons of money, but tons of money is being made elsewhere. Okay, so you always remember what those wars, how they really functioned, and where they really, where the rubber really met the road. But yeah, there's a big difference there between, hey, we're going to blow these people out of the water and leave, and you people over down there, you civilians, Iranians, go ahead. You have the chance of a lifetime, the chance that you won't be getting for a couple of generations to make things the way that you want. But, you know, again, isn't killing leaders of one country or another until they produce the ones that you like still a regime change, even if you're not down there and running like local security and doing patrols and all that stuff. Hey, these are some of the things you can call in and talk about. I'm going to throw it all over the place. Then you have, here's another one for you. This guy, Craig Koenig, one person. I was watching the Promethean group. What's her name? I forgot her name over there. Promethean. There's a lot of things, a lot of different types of theories out there. And I want to see where you guys all lay on it. Well, here you go. What makes this Trump strategy unique, says Greg Koenig, is that he is the first president to ever acknowledge that our $1 trillion annual DOW budget essentially gives the U.S. an easy button for complex foreign affairs with basically every country on the planet not named Russia or China. You don't need to do the Georgetown SFS claptrap where you own the country after you invade. That part gets you mired in 2 decades of endless war. No, you start making practical demands of your adversary to stop screwing around and being a threat. So use the time to collect intel and build assets in the region. When the psychopaths who run these countries fail to take all the lavish off-ramps you provide. Oh, hey, well, that's what's going on in Ukraine. That's the Russian perspective on Ukraine. You think that Donald Trump would be sympathetic to that because the people that Russia really want out of Ukraine are the people who were essentially behind his impeachments and everything else. He got impeached because he was snooping around in Ukraine. And that was like a defense mechanism. It's like the Venus flytrap. But we won't go there. Not tonight. Maybe not. Who knows? You collect the time to you use time to collect intel and build assets in the region. When the psychopaths who run these countries fail to take all of the lavish off-ramps you provide, well, what do? You simply have the Pentagon take America's bent paperclip, the B-2 Spirit, and jam it into the hard reset hole on the back of the country you are having a problem with. Decapitate the leadership structure, liquidate any capital assets that pose a threat, and here's the hard part, you walk away, ready to talk with whoever emerges as after the Joker splits the cue stick in half and holds tryouts. Whoever emerges really does not matter to U.S. strategic or even local regional interests at this point. The country they inherited has no possibility of projecting the power or being a regional threat after the DOW destroys all the military assets. I totally see what they're saying. Totally see what they're saying, which is another reason why I had to say that there's probably just more, obviously more to what they wanted to get done in Afghanistan. Maybe more resources. But Iran's a resource-rich country, and we will see. So that is the reset button approach. A lot cleaner, in and out, and who the hell knows? I know that UAE has been brought into this, that Kuwait has gotten involved, that Saudi Arabia has gotten involved. There has been some exchanges there. And there you go. Then we have the sleeper cell aspect, because now we say, well, what does this have to do with us domestically? Well, that's the big question. But now the question that is actually more relevant to us is whether or not we are going to see domestic blowback over here because of years and years and years of wide open borders and God knows how many other programs that we have brought over the worst of the worst and people who will never have any kind of affection for our country and our culture and are just waiting to be activated by whatever mothership might have been out there. So Pete Hegseth was on top of this as well. This is from the Epoch Times or Epic Times. U.S. vigilant against possible domestic attacks amid the Iran war. The Pentagon says the United States is prepared as the FBI probes the Austin shooting. There's a couple of things going on in the U.S. and in Europe over the weekend. People shooting each other. Of course, names and descriptions withheld. You know what that means? Secretary of War Pete Hegseth says Trump administration is monitoring for any sleeper cell activity in the United States. Hegseth's March 2nd comments after the question about possible attack on the homeland in response to the strikes on Iran. We're ready for that, Secretary told reporters at the Pentagon. We've seen these types of folks before, and the American people can rest assured that we're vigilant. Well, what does that mean? Is there going to be a soldier under every lamppost? I mean, I don't know how many times I've said this on the show because of our border policies alone. We have several standing armies worth of enemies in the United States. Now, to what end? To what ends are they working? I don't know. Maybe some of those ends might be similar, but there are millions of people who hate the United States, who steal from it, and I'm sure are waiting for orders to go apeshit or something like that. They're just right here. Now, some of them could be Iranian. Why not? Why not? Well over 100 companies, you can call them that, countries were represented at the southern border just a couple of years ago, and when there's even just a light amount of independent reporting going on with whoever was coming over, when the dinner bell was being run during the Biden administration, if you want to call it that. So, I mean, you can say that there are people who have all types of gripes here, and some of them can have allegiance to the Ayatollah and all that, and whatever. But there's just so many people who are here, and there's so little ways that you can track it after all this time. I mean, it's good to put up a unified front. Maybe you can pick up wind of a bigger operation, but just the average nut job, the average foreign national that's here waiting for a reason to act out, that they can just do a drive-by in downtown Austin or something like that. I mean, that's just, there's no way to stop that. No way to stop that at all. But anyway, here's a little bit more from that. Some statements yesterday from Pete Hegseth.
Concerns about Iranian sleeper cells and kind of what has the Trump administration been doing to kind of monitor these
Well,
threats?
across the interagency, in full coordination, of course, we're paying attention to any potentialities there. This is a former regime, a regime that seeks to export that ideology and try to sow terror. We're ready for that. We've seen these types of folks before, and the American people can rest assured that we're vigilant on that.
Secretary, thank you. Kind of a follow-up on that last question. There was just this, what appears to be a terrorist attack in Austin yesterday. How does that change the operation at all? What effect does that have? And
It doesn't change the operation at all, and I know the authorities are executing exactly the way they should.
Investigating it after it happens. So, I mean, vigilance, it's not like all of the marble buildings in Washington, D.C. are looking over you like a guardian angel. It's just the way it is. Hopefully they catch it. Now, there's other things here too. Then we'll get into kind of the mystical thing, the mystical side of things. Remember, just please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching right now, like, share, and comment. If you're watching it live or on demand, it doesn't matter. Like, share, comment. If it's on demand, then if you're on YouTube, hype it, whatever the hell it is, give me a hand. That's the best way to help us out over here. And anybody else that you enjoy on a nightly or weekly or monthly basis. Promethean Action. That's what I have. I was looking into this. This is not the only group that was talking about this particular theory. I think it was, let me see here. Here we go. One of those outlets who are taking the theory that Donald Trump is dismantling a more than century-old financial grip that the City of London in particular, has had on that region, Iran, and even Israel, which doesn't adequately explain what Israel believes they might be getting out of this operation. Either that, or I just need to listen again. There's just so many, and try harder to understand. Because, of course, we haven't really talked about the Israeli aspect of all this right here, where it's, once again, it's just, why? Why? And the whole domestic thing about whether or not there's going to be issues here, it really comes down to, are they false flags? This is when you really need to wait to see. And it's a horrible thing to play wait and see on as well, but that's what we have. And of course, New York is at the top of the targets list, every targets list that floats around out there, whether it's official or unofficial. But, we have a sleeper cell that we just voted into the city to run the city. There's a sleeper cell that got voted in New York City to run the damn thing. But that's that. Now, over the weekend, to get a little bit mystical with it, and let me open up the lines now. 914-200-0269. Would love to hear from you. There's still so much to do. I got in touch with Robert Phoenix because I said, okay, well, listen. I said, listen, we've got this. We spoke the last couple of days of January. No. It was later on in February. And he wanted to bring attention to that Antarctica eclipse that was coming in and how it was going to create a window of time for action on the war front with Iran. Now, I'm going to get Ryan Gable on the show. Hopefully I can get him on tomorrow. Trying to get Ryan Gable up front and maybe like a short call with Jason Burmis on the back end. But I would definitely love to get into the more ritualistic aspects of this. I know there's a lot of religious holidays that's going on. There's there was, of course, the very symbolic burning of the Baal statue in Iran. And there's a lot of things going back and forth on the esoteric level, which is where I really love hunkering down and getting some really nice, keen analysis. So that's what it is. But before we take some calls, give you some time to power up your phones. So I told Robert, I said, well, here we go. And he said this. He said, where the hell we go? He goes, hey. He said, well, it's on. This is on Saturday around noon. Today's a rare planetary alignment where Mercury, Venus, Saturn, Neptune, and Jupiter are all on the ecliptic. Mars is occulted and hidden behind the sun. Machinations of war are disguised. I said, so the eclipse in Antarctica was indeed capitalized on. He goes, it was a beginning. The main astrological influence is Saturn, Neptune, and Aries, which falls directly on the fourth house of Iran, which is the home. That's a war at home. I'm still expecting something to happen to one of our ships to send this shit show to the next level. I talked about Pearl Harbor yesterday on my show and likened it to the current event and state. Jupiter is retrograde in Cancer, and that's water and feeling and emotion. On a hunch, I had never seen Pearl Harbor chart. But Jupiter was also retrograde in Gemini, which is communication. And of course, Roosevelt knew what was going to happen ahead of time and did not act on it. So keep your eyes on the Straits of Hormuz and SS Liberty type of event. Which, by the way, I saw a pretty baller move made on Twitter by somebody. They went out, where the hell is it? I think Hold on. I think I have it on Telegram. Where the hell was it? It was Trucker Friend Built. Let me get this over here. Hold on a second. Pretty hilarious. Iran just sunk the USS Liberty, which of course prompted a community note because it was Israel. Israel and the USS Liberty. Don't want to talk to you about that in the 6-day war. So I thought that was a pretty baller move, just to kind of throw that out there and disrupt the flow. But listen, there is no flow. Everybody's trying to bite each other's face off. And like I said, you're either a shill, a retard, a simp, or a panikin. My favorite. So 914-200-0269. Give me a buzz. I want to start hearing what the hell's going on with you guys and how you are how you're reading it all. Because I know a lot of people are going nuts. And speaking of astrological events and things that are going on in the sky and just trying to pay attention to what those out there do pay attention to when they're plotting all their world-changing events from time to time, is we got a blood moon coming here too on the 3rd at 3:33 a.m. Which time zone? I don't know. Let's take a call from Clay. You're on the air. Go ahead, Clay.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Go ahead.
Good. I'm just waiting on hold for Frank.
You got it. Hold on. Let me go grab him.
All right, no problem.
Okay. Hold on.
Problem.
Hey, Clay, you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. Welcome to the show, my friend. So what do you have for us tonight?
Hey, I'm a shill, simp, retard, and panicking.
Nice.
So.
Nice. That's like a test tube baby right there. You got a little of everything.
Yeah. I'm assuming I'm talking to Frank here. I'm not going to be pranked. So.
No, I know.
Yeah, how you doing?
It's good. I know. Go ahead.
Yes. A long-time listener, second-time caller. I called you back in like 2017, 2018.
Wow.
Right at the beginning of my awakening. I gave you a ridiculous super chat at the time. Just because I loved your show so damn much. But I when I'm listening to all this shit going on, honestly, at this point, you just kind of have to assume that we don't have much control over it.
Yeah.
All of these people that are playing the stars and playing the moons and whatever it may be, it's not necessarily up to us. We just have to sit here and, frankly, after all these years, I'm just going to leave it in the hands of God and just relax and take care of my family, take care of my health and relax. I think there's not much we can do outside of the time that we're called to do so.
I'm glad you said it. And that's what I said before. What I said earlier when I opened up the show was my opinions really mean jack shit in the grand scheme of things. It's great to be able to sit down and in an open forum like this and dish with people like you, see what you think. I'll give you what I think, but we know that that's not going to turn into policy or anything like that. Perhaps over a long enough period of time, it does impact the culture, and from there, we can create a little bit more will to that we could, create. I don't know, maybe some autonomy on a local levels that bubble. You just can't even think that far ahead down the line. And whether there is a bright side or a silver lining to all this stuff, all things, it's just wait and see at this point. And we just got to deal with it and think small and as local as possible in the meantime. It's just, you're right on with it. You really are.
Yeah. Well, don't sell yourself too short. I mean, you've been kind of the backbone over the course of, the past 10 years of just being that chill place to hang out and relax as the world's going crazy. But I mean, if you're looking at the current landscape of things, what has it been, 59 days, 60 days? We have war with Iran. We got stealing the Venezuelan president. We have the Epstein files. It kind of seems like whatever they're planning is they're hitting the gas. But whatever we have to plan, we just have to plan to be relaxed, chill. Because there's when it's all boiled down to it, like there's not much we can do. There is some stuff that we can do, obviously, like you know, people are like, oh no, you got to get up there and pitchforks and torches and, you know, go do what you got to do. But the time will come for that. But right now it's kind of a circus. And
Yeah.
I'm going to sit back and it's pretty intense because it is a circus fire. So I'm going to sit back and watch.
Well, Clay, you know what? It took 9 years for you to call back in, but I'm glad you did. This is a great way to kick this one off tonight. Thank you.
Hey man, you're my one and only super chat ever. I gave you $400 back in 2018. So
Jeez.
yeah.
Well, it's
I mean,
it's lasted you. If it wasn't for that super chat, I wouldn't be here.
Hey, more coming, homie.
Oh, please. Thank you. So the call is really awesome, and just a testament to the time that you've given me over these years is really awesome too. And thank you, and I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good night.
Take care. All right, let's see. Curtis, is this you?
This is me. How you doing, Frank?
I'm doing all right. How the hell are things hitting you over the last couple of days?
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I just want to touch base with you. Did you see that a couple guys from Typo Negative is joining together with some guys from Crowbar for a new project?
Oh, hell yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, yeah. I played when Kenny and Johnny released there was a video. What the hell is it called? Oh, shit. I forgot. The first single that they put out, I thought was so awesome. I gotta look it up. Maybe I'll play it on the flip side tonight. But yeah, I had seen that. Okay.
What a great mashup, man.
Yeah, man. For sure.
And then on the Iran thing, something that I thought was ironic. I just heard a video today. I'm not sure if it was a YouTube clip or what because it was on my headphones. But they played an Iranian woman that listed all the restrictions that Iran was putting on their women over there.
Uh-huh.
Like if you were to drive with a man in your car that wasn't your husband, then you could be arrested, things like that. And here in my podunk town, there was a group of probably about 7 or 10 liberal Karens out there protesting what's happening in Iran. So I thought that was fairly ironic.
You know, I'm glad you bring that up, and we're going to get into that at some point tonight too, maybe just right now. But Curtis, thank you so much for the call. Let me just say before you go, I just reminded myself the band is called Sun Don't Shine, and the first single that they put out 8 months ago that I just absolutely loved was called Coming Down. So Sun Don't Shine, Coming Down. There's actually a pretty trippy video out there on YouTube. So check it out if you haven't seen it already.
Will do, man. Good talking to you, Frank.
Take care. Yeah, when it comes to American liberals protesting anything, it is just nix, don't care. Line right through it, don't give a fuck. Out of all the things that we can talk about, all the ways that we can approach a situation, I do not care about the average American liberals' stance on it. They have no discernment whatsoever. It's not like your average Republican is a galaxy brain, but I don't even give a fuck. It's like that's just silly. Okay, let's take a call. Randy from Colorado. Go ahead, Randy.
Hey, Frank. How's it going, bro?
Oh, it's going. We're having it's a nice chill night. I think we have a couple of days that are going to be in the 60s coming up. So I'm just excited that we're in March and spring is on the way. What's on your mind?
Yes, sir. And it's beautiful here in Colorado Springs.
Sounds it.
Yes. Well, listen, I just wanted to kind of add on to the Iranian thing here.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was, I was 16 and freshman in high school. And this is back in 76, okay? So I'm sitting in class, in English class, and the vice principal comes in and says, is there anybody here can volunteer to teach English to a foreign student? I said, why not? So I raised my hand. They picked me. I went in there and I met this guy named Kambis, and he was from Tehran. And like I said, this was 76, so it was like a couple of years before all the hostage stuff happened. And we got to talking. I mean, it was hard to communicate at first, but we kind of worked it out with the vocabulary books and some of the translation books. And anyway, we got to talking, and after a couple of weeks or so, he started telling me how life was in Tehran. And so he was saying to me that the Shah's boy, Reza Pahlavi, I think his name is.
Okay.
He was an idiot, and that he was totally incompetent. He didn't like the Shah, and he didn't like the Shah's kid.
Mm-hmm.
He said the kid would get inside these F-16s and try to fly, and would just be totally incompetent, and they had to ground him and all this kind of stuff. And he said he had the intellectual capability of maybe a bar of soap.
Okay.
So I'm just wondering why all this, who they think they might be replacing the leader with this Reza Pahlavi. I don't know anything about him. Do you?
Wait, that's who's stepping in?
Yeah, they're thinking about having Reza Pahlavi,
and
the son of the Shah.
Okay, and that's the guy. That's the guy that you had a little bit of inside information on being stupid.
Right. He
Yeah.
was an idiot. He was totally dumb. He didn't know what he was doing.
Well, when you think about the situation at hand, I don't really think. Well, first of all, it doesn't take one person to rule a country. You need a lot of help there, and I guess really at this point, as long as they are as they're just sorting it out amongst themselves, I don't think that the American government really cares if they do have a bar of. Thank you for the call, Randy. If they have a bar of soap that's running things over there, as long as they're going to play by a new set of rules, open up the books, and who knows where this all leads. I don't know, but you think about that there too. If he really has his day in the sun, the bar of soap person. I'll tell you what else I hate about situations like this. It's almost like when we were breaking down, when like Vinny Eastwood came on the show and we started breaking down all of the different aspects, the false flags and the different characters you always get, like the hero and all the aspects of a full-fledged operation like that. The one thing I can't stand about the wars is we start getting things like this. Immediately, there was a female pilot that was apparently shot down over Kuwait. A female American pilot shot down over Kuwait, took a missile to the face, and everybody's watching and going gaga over this video of her, being approached by local Kuwaitis out there in the desert, on a beach, whatever the hell it is. And she's bubbly and really appreciative of being rescued and all that stuff. And you want to talk about simping. I don't give a fuck. If you can fly a plane, if you're good at what you do in this day and age, it's just there's men and there's female pilots and whatever. But the people, God, every young American should know this woman's name. Listen to this one. Every young American should know this woman's name. It's women like her that should be famous, not the Kardashians. What a woman. Because this pilot got shot down. And she had a smile on her face when she was recovered by some locals. Like, okay. I mean, can you name the last 3 American male pilots that got shot down? So now we got to deal with this, like the little golden nugget stories all over the place because of the war. Let's start with Frank Zell. What's going on, Frank? How you doing?
Hey, Frank. How are you, man?
Oh, I'm doing okay. It's just another chapter has begun here, and it's only March. So I guess just give me your...
Let me add my brother for this, because my brother don't want to mess around.
Wait, what's that?
Jim, you there? I'm here. All right, Frankie.
Oh, good. Oh, we got both of you guys in tonight. Okay, well, hey, listen, it's open lines for general thoughts. your opinion on the weekend's events and who makes out the best out of all this.
You want to go, Jim? No, go ahead, Frank. All right. To me, it's obvious. I mean, this is a purely geopolitical move, right? Trump can speak to the masses and talk about all the bad things that they've done, how they've been a thorn in our side, how they've killed innocent people, because that moves the needle, right? That gets people emotional. You're not going to talk about logistics. You're not going to talk about land rails and things that are going to take decades to unfold. It goes over the head of most Americans. That's what's at play here. It's, from a geopolitical standpoint, is an old adage, right? Will Rogers said it. The art of diplomacy is saying good doggy, until you can find a rock. This is what Trump is doing. Everything plays a part. Is it about freeing the Iranian people? Yeah, partially. But this has more to do with Russia and China, because you have them boxed in, so you're taking advantage of it for something that's going to have an effect over decades. Russia, they can't. Usually, like when Russia balked at Syria, they sent their troops there. That's why that took so long to play out, because we were afraid to bomb their troops. China's, they just started yapping, but China can't afford financially, any more tariffs, because they're already dealing with certain financial measures. But you have them boxed in, so you have a chance to set a new paradigm of sorts, and to rein in a country who is our number one foreign policy adversary in China. We do not want them becoming a hemisphere hegemon in the East. We want them regional. They want to grow and become a superpower. So this move, you already took part of their oil from when we took out Venezuela. And everybody forgets about the Belt and Road Initiative. China has gone through, they built a land rail from China through Kazakhstan, through Turkmenistan, into Iran, and they've been shipping, it's supposed to open this year, where they can just ship oil. Iran can ship all the oil they want to China. You're going to give them that advantage? And they pay in wands, and they pay in reals. You're supposed to pay in dollars. So, and that's another thing. We're totally cut out. There's no more Western influence. Remember, we're there in the Strait of Hormuz every day of the year. We got a warship there to monitor that everything goes smoothly. China circumvented it with a 25, 50-year plan, which eventually was going to go then from Iran to Turkey into Europe. You're going to give your adversary that kind of advantage? No way. And that's what's happening. And Russia is like the second winner here, because China is going to have to buy more oil from them now, because Venezuela's gone and now Iran's gone. Anyway, Jim,
I'll tell you, it would be.
There is another winner.
Well, yeah, we'll get to that in just a second. It would be a lot better, I'll tell you, if it were packaged that way. We're only, like you said, there's the easily digestible story that is given to people, and that it's obviously you can get behind all, these Iranians. They have been oppressed for so long. The Venezuelans have been oppressed for so long, because there's an element and a healthy element of truth to all that stuff. But at the same time, I actually wish that there was a little bit more of, hey, think about the game, the game of Stratego that we're playing here. And that'd be great to have a little bit more disclosure on that end. But go ahead, Jim.
I would say another winner in this, is obviously Israel, right? Because Israel has a right to exist, right? And you look at Iran has always said since 1979 that that Israel should be annihilated. That was not just rhetoric. That was part of their foreign policy and their ideology. That was written down. Right? They did not want Israel there. So Israel always viewed Iran as an existential threat to their existence, always. And now with us carrying, the heavy water here, I think Israel is really, they want a fractured state. They want a fractured country. They want Iran like Syria, broken up.
But then, see, that's why I disagree with you, Jim, because Israel may want that. We don't want that.
No, I didn't say us. I said Israel.
Well,
Israel may want that.
Heck, Israel would want this, a constant bombing of it until Iran is just wiped off the face of the earth. They would love that. But I don't think Trump wants that. Trump wants to do this and get it done as quick as possible.
We don't do this without a friendly regime to us in its place. Or this is for naught. This was a waste of time, waste of lives. There has to be regime change friendly to us. That has to be the end result here.
That's the gamble, though, right? That's the because sometimes it doesn't play out that way.
Yeah,
even Trump said it. Even Trump said it himself that it could fail. I mean, Frank, this is where regime change is like the Forrest Gump of politics. It's like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get.
Yeah,
right?
Well, depending on regardless of how this all plays out, and like Frank said to open up, that we're talking about a timeline of decades, really, to really see what kind of fruit will be born here, and because it's this is being billed as a maximum 4-week engagement, but 40 years later, we might still be really seeing all different aspects of things you could not project. And of course, one of those things that people are wondering over the next couple of decades is how does that project, the Greater Israel Project, really come to fruition as well, where it's like that ideological kind of vision of expanding the borders beyond the 67 lines and the 1967 lines, and just encompassing pretty much way more outside of where they are right now, where Palestine is just an afterthought. And you're talking about maybe some parts of Jordan and Lebanon and Syria and Egypt. And I mean, there's a lot of that going on out there too. So one way or another, when people are talking about who benefits the most here, yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of people, because we're seeing it. There's a lot of people from Iran who really love this. But do governments really move because they care so much about little people? They don't make moves like this because they care a lot about little people. That's for sure.
No,
we're used as fodder in a way. I think George W. Bush once said it years ago. He said to a reporter, he goes, "We will do anything to maintain our way of life here. Whatever it takes, we'll do it." China down the road is going to be a massive threat. That's what they focus on. That's what they game plan on for decades out. What happens if China becomes too strong and we have some kind of conflict with them? They become a hegemon in their own hemisphere, and in essence, you now have two superpowers. Only one's going to win out. And then it becomes a very bad conflict if you let them get too strong. This is us trying to keep them in check, trying to control supply chain routes, energy routes. They already have huge advantages over us in technology. They ship every day to, they go through Russia, Belarus, and into Europe, shipping goods, technology. And now you're going to allow them to receive oil from Iran? You can't stop it. You can't stop it.
That would be bad.
And it was open. It's already been in operation, but it was supposed to be enforced this year. There's no way you give them that advantage. You talk about the 6th to 9th largest oil producer in the world, giving them oil on the cheap, and cutting the route in half. It takes 30 to 40 days by sea, and it takes only 14 by land rail.
And they're paying for it how? Not in dollars. Not in dollars. They're paying it with their own currency and totally changing the logistical use of how oil is transported. They changed the whole thing. 100 and something years, as the world's been doing it one way, China changed the whole thing. Not anymore.
Well,
because I mean,
yeah.
are we going to maybe we allow them, the new regime, to ship oil to China, but maybe the deal is you're going to pay us in dollars. Maybe a deal is made, or maybe we just end it right now and just blow up the whole freaking thing. Maybe it has been blown up. Who knows?
It's going to be fascinating. Like you said, how this is going to bear fruit, 10, 20, 30 years down the road. Hopefully it benefits us well. But, when you speak of regime change and fruit, you look back in 1953 when Operation Ajax happened and we replaced Mohammad Mogaddesh, the democratically elected leader of Iran, when he nationalized the oil. And then that consolidated power once we did that with the Shah, Ravi. And then that was the precursor to 1979 for the Islamic Revolution. And then you look at where it is now. And that all stemmed from a coup back in 1953. And now we're seeing, and the fruit of it's right here.
Yeah.
So you never know what you're going to get.
Well, and it goes back to everything else we've been talking about in the last however many years too. I mean, so many of the problems that we're dealing with today, they usually have a lot more. They have a lot more ancient roots, and at least we're talking over the course of centuries. But a lot of the issues that we're dealing with, even domestically. You think about cultural revolution over here in the United States. What are we dealing with when we talk about people being woke now? Well, that didn't just happen. That didn't just start on Tumblr in 2010. That's it's old. But when you think about old, it's really only a couple of decades. We're talking about things that happen over the course of one human being's average lifespan. And so when you think about how big of the world's problems are, it didn't take that long for us to get here. So, but of course, it is harder sometimes to convince people that they've been screwed and screwed by the people that they are loyal to in some traditional way or another, and to try to right the ship from there. That's the hardest thing than to screw people initially.
Yeah, you got a point.
Well, anyway, I can't wait to hear more of what you guys have to say as this develops over the next couple of weeks. With everything else that's going on, of course. Did you watch the Clinton deposition videos?
I saw a couple of them.
I got a couple over here. I got a couple to watch. I just have like 3. I have to find the rest later and just watch it all. But man, oh man, that's entertaining.
I saw Bill Clinton. They asked him about the hot tub. He said something to the effect of, "I don't know who was in that hot tub. I was only in that hot tub for 5 minutes."
I know. It's
like, really?
I don't know who was in the hot tub. All I do know is that I was only in there for 5 minutes.
For 5 minutes, I jumped in, I jumped out.
I
That's
checked.
it.
I checked. I went right.
It all depends on what your definition of the word hot is.
Yes, I know.
Exactly.
It was a lukewarm tub.
Goodness.
All right. Well, anyway, thank you guys. It's good to hear from you.
Hey,
all right, Frank. Thanks a lot,
Have
man.
a good night.
There you go. I like when the Zell brothers team up and call in out of nowhere. That's great. Okay, super chats and then more of your calls. I see them coming in right now. Jay Britt says, "I'm just here for the silver and gold." Hashtag Gyno. Gay in name only. That's right. Well, the first 2 gifts, the first 2 super chat raffle items that I'm putting in for the week, 3 silver quarters. You can see it's very, very shiny. Mr. President, George Washington, George H. Washington, George Herbert Walker Washington. And you're getting 3 silver quarters and then 3 gold backs. Okay, so you're getting silver and gold. That's what we're starting off with. Only going to get better from there. Stove says, "Good evening, Frank. Good evening to you, my friend." Ashley Snow says, "I've recently caught the gold bug. I hope you catch this one too. Dude from 1965 survives. Says the righteousness mission is for America to never be held hostage by a nuclear weapon from Iran." Okay, so and that's what we get that. that is something that's a very easily accessible mission statement. I would like somebody to let me know how serious of a situation that really is and how inevitable that really is, that Iran, from all the way over there, would be able to get us intercontinentally with a nuclear weapon, whether they are hypersonic or not. I mean, it looks like I don't know what kind of missile defense systems we're looking at in action right now, but some of it looks like it's directed energy. It's crazy. Some of it looks like it's just light. And that is one of the things that has been kind of like dangled out there since the turn of the new year. And what was the operation in Venezuela, that there was new technology that was on display. And of course, this is one of those moments that's being taken to flex. Let's take a call from John. John, go ahead.
Well, Frank, this is Chris. John and I share the same line.
Hello, Chris.
Hi, Frank. So I love the Zell brothers. I love when they're on all the time. The only thing I was sad about is in order to make my phone call, I couldn't listen to all this. I have to go back and listen to
you'll hear
the rest of their. So what they were saying about with China and Russia, absolutely right on. No doubt about it, right on. Other thing, too, is right now China is buying the majority of their oil from Iran. And the fact that we now have Venezuela's oil and that we're going to refine it, we're going to use that oil to sell to China through Russia, because Russia will use the dollar. Russia already said that they're going to use our dollar. So the oil that we got from Venezuela is going to go to Russia. Russia's going to pay us in dollars, and they're going to send it to China. So that's the circle there. The other thing, too, is the gentleman that called about Pahlavi. He is kind of an airhead. And about a year ago, they were asking him, was he interested in taking over? And he actually said, no, I'm not interested. I'm only interested in being the interim. Oh. I really don't want to lead the country. He said, it's just not my thing. And he was upfront about it. And I haven't heard him say anything to the contrary since then. It's always, I'm willing to be the interim. Now, who's behind after that? I know there are other leaders in Iran that the people are talking about. So he isn't going to be put up there as the one and only, because they also have other factions for some other people, which I forgot some of their names. But anyway, all of that, Zells were right on about that. The only thing is, it's going to be the Venezuelan oil going to Russia. We're going to get paid from Russia. Russia's going to send it because they will pay us in dollars.
Mm. Well, I'm happy you got through. I'm glad that you were able to leave us with some of this. And again, I hope you call in as weeks go on and this picture develops a little bit more too.
Oh, I definitely will be. Thanks, Frank. Well, I love your show.
Well, thank you. Hey, listen, the show's only, for me, the show's only awesome because I'm able to write in blocks of time like this where it's really just a wild card, and the audience really brings it to the next level. So thank you.
Well, we appreciate you having the venue for us to do it too, and you do a great job.
Well, all the best.
Don't discount yourself.
No, I won't. I'll try not to.
Right.
That's like my 2026 goal here, is to not to discount myself too much. Going back to what you talk about. Hey, well, what Dan Schumann said over here: the righteousness mission is for America to never be held hostage by a nuclear weapon from Iran. I understand that mission a lot more coming from the Israeli perspective. Okay. I'm not one of those types of people who are, the Israel has no right to exist people. Israel's there, and they were founded, however they were founded, and that's just the way it is. Land is conquered, reconquered, acquired, reacquired in a multitude of ways. We're being conquered in a way right now that is not kinetic or anything like that. And of course people contest, our legitimacy as a nation because it was stolen land and all that shit. So listen, however the hell a land is settled or resettled and whatever the hell else is not of my concern. It's only of concern to the people who are out there. You get to fight for it and you get to settle it, and the score is settled in whatever the hell way. Now, as far as what that government's involvement in other affairs in the world are and how much influence, undue influence they're able to flex on people through one reason or another, and listen, that's where things start coming to the fore. But I understand if somebody in the region like Israel is uncomfortable with Iran pursuing nuclear capabilities in one way or another, which is, just from the messaging standpoint, that's another thing that I've just grown up with, and many of you have as well. Iran is just always a couple of months away from tearing down the entire world with an arsenal of nuclear weapons, or yellow cake this, yellow cake that, centrifuges this, centrifuges that. And I know that you could say, well, many times over the years, their program has had to be brought back to the starting point. That there has been negotiations, non-proliferation negotiations over here, or a sabotage over the Stuxnet virus over here to try to destroy one thing or another, get a little bit more physical with it. Or that last bombing a couple of months ago that we were told was a definitive wiping the slate clean. But I guess that's just not enough. So there's a lot of mixed messaging here too. But I do understand from a regional standpoint, because that's where I think most of the interests lie there, if you're talking about military presence, where that is really their case. Now, from a geopolitical but financial end, that's not being articulated to us right now. It's really just all about liberating. And listen, I'm happy that some Iranians are happy, some Venezuelans are happy. I know it's very easy for someone like me to say, well, they got to do shit for themselves, because I'm sure we can forcibly make a lot of people happy, but it doesn't mean we have the right to. But who are you for? Are you for the supreme leader? What, you like him? Do you like Hamas? You like Israel? Pick a side. A lot of that shit's going on right now. And I reject it all. I'm for me. I'm for you guys, your families, my friends, and for what is still, at least on paper, the United States. That's pretty much it. Because it's never as simple as just liberating people. It's so obvious that there are interests in the world that stand to benefit far more from this than average Iranians or average Venezuelans. So obvious. Let's take a call. 207, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Hey, this is out from Maine.
Hey,
up in the old dry East Coast.
What's going on?
How you doing,
there?
Frank?
Oh, doing all right. This is our second caller from Maine tonight. If you consider Jim Zell, go ahead.
I just want to thank you for being so awesome. And I was going through a negative period a little while ago, about 3 weeks ago, really black-pilled. But with the dropping of Hillary's talk in Congress, 2 days after the killing of the Supreme Leader, this is the winning that Trump was talking about.
That's what some people are saying. Although
it's just literally overwhelming.
It's just so much. I am overwhelmed. I'll tell you, someone told me, well, I was asked this, Frank, do you think the Clinton depositions were meant to be buried by the war? And I laughed because no, just for anybody out there who might be thinking that, I just got to say, no, these depositions were never going to yield anything. First of all, these two, Bill and Hillary, are far too cunning from a PR standpoint. They are creme de la creme. We're not talking about the idiot from Texas. What's her name? I forget her name. So many dumbasses out there.
I totally agree with you, Frank. Absolutely. But I want to, because we've been watching this for so long and we're so familiar with the word blowback.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been such a negative blowback. The intelligence community has been always viewing blowback as negative, except in this one situation, we're seeing positive blowback.
Positive
Blowback. Same from the Erica Clerk. Same from the assassination. How can we, if there was an intelligence operation that took out Charlie, how would we best deal with that situation is allowing it to be exposed in a blowback situation. And the same thing with Hillary is if we are too strong-handed, we'll have blowback, but it won't be positive blowback. We have to have exposure so that we can get justice from Hillary and Bill, but would we get more positive long-term societal change from a longer exposure and less justice, quote unquote, being served? And I think I would want more societal change instead of harsher judgment. You know what I mean? I don't want another Hillary to come up without seeing what happened to the old Hillary.
Oh, well, I get what you're saying, and thank you for the call. I get what you're saying there, but where do you see that coming? Does anybody else see that coming? You see that a direction where that might be coming from? I don't. This was going to be entertaining. I was curious about what was going to be asked of Hillary Clinton and Bill Clinton, but I mean, they're being deposed by goofy jellyfish people who have no intention of doing anything bold, even if they were giving meaningful intelligence. It's certainly, the depositions were certainly not a situation that we're going to require bombing Iran to squirrel it away from public sight. I'm sure more people are hoping that they were watching. That's more of a circus than anything else. Laura, go ahead. You're on the air.
Hey, what's going on, Frank? It's Uncle Krusty.
Sorry. So who am I speaking with?
It's Uncle Krusty.
Hello, Krusty. Certainly not Laura, but go ahead. It's good to hear from you.
It's been a long time.
Yeah, it is. I'm telling you, there's been so many more people that have popped in to say hello that I haven't heard from in a while. It's really great. But go ahead, Krusty.
It's good stuff, man. It's good stuff. So where are we at with this Iran thing? What do you think is going to go on? Is it going to be the Q followers win and wars avoided, world peace, we all prosperous? Or do you think it's going to be biblical and the 7 nations come together in the Valley of Megiddo, Iran?
Well, as you know, all sides have been represented. I have seen plenty of doubling back and re-examining however many Q drops and pointing out gigantic deltas that are on the table now and what this all means. So, the decoder rings are coming out, and then other people are running to the Bible, and then other people are running here and there, the other where. Other people are watching the financial markets. There's something for everybody right now.
Isn't it a great time to have corn on? This is amazing, man.
Wait, what's that last thing you said? Hello? Krusty? Well, he said, isn't it a great thing to, I don't know. It is a time. It certainly is a time. We're having it right now. Dragon Sage, thank you so much for the super chat. Jorico says I don't know. He was calling out. I said, everybody, please like and subscribe. Sleeper cells in the chat. Be better lurkers. Yes, no lurking, everybody. Please like, comment, subscribe, put the notifications on. I want to be able to reintroduce myself to so many thousands of you out there. It would be wonderful, but many of us have been buried under the mud. Doc Keck, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Frank. Appreciate it, man. Quite a momentous day. Yeah.
Well, it's been a momentous weekend. A lot of things going on. I can't wait to talk to you guys about all of it.
For sure. And I think the Zell brothers, they were really astute in terms of the importance of oil, both from Venezuela and Iran, and what that means for China. I think I read an article where it said China was getting about 20% of their oil from those two countries, and without that, they don't really have the energy to invade Taiwan and hold it. Another kind of oil market, I don't think many people are talking about this, but Europe today saw like a 39% increase in their price of oil, and at one point it was 50%, like more than what it was at the beginning of the day, which for me has implications on their support of the Ukraine war, because when your entire economy can no longer afford the transport of goods, then leaders need to practically look at their most expedient solution to secure the resources needed for their economies to function and their people to thrive.
Yeah.
And and I've also been reading a couple of other articles where it's saying how with the attacks on the energy infrastructure, the closing of the Strait of Hormuz, we're only looking at about 3 to 4 weeks tops of reserves. And with Trump saying, we're looking at 4 to 5 weeks of bombings, well, that falls within that. And we could be looking at, some people are saying, $100 to $120 a barrel of oil, and which is going to be, immense. If they're already seeing 39, 50%, increase just today, I can only imagine, 3-4 weeks now when the pinch really does hit in.
Well, from a strategy standpoint, like let's just say we're talking about war. Now, it's just obviously you have so many different tools in your war chest at this point. So many tools you can use. It's not just about cannons, and definitely it's becoming less and less about troops and more so about unmanned vehicles and robots and satellites and everything else. But one of those things that we're talking about there is the price of commodities and energy and all that stuff. This is why I would really have loved to seen, and I know that it's being billed this way, that domestic oil production and drilling was going to really, really open up. That would just be awesome just to see more of this going on. Obviously, just in peacetime. That's what I was looking forward to. I was looking forward to 75 cent gallon of gas just because of what we were producing over here domestically. But obviously, because of the timeline that we're on, seems like we're going to have a little bit of hiccup along the way if this until this all settles.
Yes and no. I mean, what the Zells also hinted at was kind of like a callback to the Bretton Woods Agreement, where international oil is traded in the U.S. dollar as opposed to another currency, and the main driver of the Chinese play onto the global market was BRICS. But now with Russia kind of falling back on that, it does provide an avenue and a window for the U.S. to kind of come in and reestablish itself and assert itself as the global oil hegemon, which it's kind of been doing with the seizure of Venezuelan tankers, and then now basically the U.S. owns the Strait of Hormuz, for a better lack of a term, or lack of a better term.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, so then overall, give me a nutshell. How are you feeling about this turn of events, and do you see a silver lining here?
So I see two things. I do see a realignment and an attempt by the Trump administration to move Europe towards peace with Russia. And I really do think that Russia is probably the big winner out of all this. Oil prices go up, their economy does better. It means that they can fight longer. Defense assets also get reallocated from Ukraine to Iran. And then what I was saying earlier, Europe needs to find another source of oil and gas, and they're going to need to look at the practicality of their own policies towards the survival of their own cultures. That's one. I have another one.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and then the other group that's having a tough time is the Islamophobia crowd in the U.S. Especially when Iranians are cheering the death of Khomeini, and the whole Islam is a religion of peace bullshit kind of just falls on its face. I believe this will only help the domestic realization of what taqiyya and Sharia will ultimately end up looking like if we continue with the politically woke bullshit. Essentially, the Iranian Revolution was a resultant of an alliance with ultra liberal woke feminism and the Islamic Brotherhood, which is called the Democrat Party right now.
Oh, it's a crazy. I always thought that marriage was just so crazy and ironic, But they make American liberals, especially the feminist wing of the whole thing, they will make the craziest bedfellows in order to take out what they believe is the chief enemy. And you want to talk about a lack of foresight, but still, I'm thinking about that there too. You talk about the preservation of certain cultures and the Islamophobia crowd and everything else like that. That leaks into the domestic aspect of sleeper cells, false flags, and the rest. I mean, especially Europe. Europe is ground zero for bringing in, God knows, untold millions of people from the Middle East and North Africa and all that stuff. And people, probably a lot of the men who would have been fighting in these wars, if they had not left to go and sit around on European welfare and hanging out and selling tchotchkes in the streets of Paris. So what do you think about that? Because if you want to talk about realignment, these people got to go back. And I think that is that's a burden that a lot of people don't even want to think about.
Well, no, but it helps if you ban knives in your country to stop all the stabbings.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be good. Okay, well, thank you, Doc Keck. It's good to hear from you as always.
Definitely. Pleasure. Many blessings.
All right, be well. Yes, okay. Tommy Jekyll says, Frank, they perish for our nation. Nathan says, not for nothing, Avenging Beirut 1983 and Khobar Towers has been long in the making and just needed to be done. You see, there's something else there too. I mean, I was born in 1985. My uncle was out in Beirut at the time of the bombing. He was there, and as a Marine, and I understand people who are coming from that perspective there too, and I've wondered why did it take so long, and what powers are at play, and all that other stuff. And I think that is mainly, some people use that as the backbone of this is a realignment to a greater level that has a lot to do with the Bank of London and the bank in England and the City of London in particular. One thing that I have seen regurgitated a couple of times, and it's an interesting line, and I'd love to understand it more just from a storytelling perspective. But why so long? Why do you leave it alone? If there really was a threat, a real kinetic threat back then in the 80s. So Tommy Jekyll again, LBJ is somewhere giggling his ass off. Thank you, Sean Joe. Eric Allen says, imagine being in a hot tub with Hill Dog. Sean Joe again, Safety Net says gold and silver, silver and gold. Add my name to the wish list, please. Thank you, Lynn. And then Vesper says, I'm always in, Frank, but you know that. Well, good luck to you all. Awaken Boomer says, hi, Frank, I'm in for the silver and gold, supporting my all-time favorite show. You're the best, Grady. Jay Semo says, happy Monday, Frank. Well, there's so much more to get to. There really is. Speaking of, here is a couple things from the Bill and Hillary side of things. Bill Clinton was directly, this is from Kanakoa the Great, was directly asked, and I'll open up the lines again in a little bit, it's 8:30. He was directly asked whether he received a massage from one of Jeffrey Epstein's girls, visited the island, or met Virginia Roberts. And let's take a listen to this. It's probably interesting to ask some questions of Jason Burmis if we have him on tomorrow. Listen here.
Have you ever had contact with an individual by the name of Shantae Davies?
I believe Shantae that's a distinctive name, and so I think that was the name of one of his flight attendants.
Okay. She's been described on being on a 2002 Africa trip and providing massages. Was she or any other young female on that trip underage at that time?
Not that I'm aware of.
Did you ever receive a massage or have physical contact from her or anyone else on that trip?
You've seen the pictures. There was one time when I was sitting up and I got a back rub, a neck rub.
Okay.
And I think Shantae did it, but I'm not sure.
Okay. Did you ever visit Epstein's Little St. James Island?
No.
We have Virginia Guffrey, who has testified seeing you on the island with 2 young girls. Did this occur at all? Okay. Why do you think she would have made that claim?
Objection, speculation. He can't possibly.
Have you ever met her or any other Epstein associated underage girl?
Not to my knowledge.
Listen, what do we think we were going to get? Here's another one. Bill Clinton is talking about the time he was spending in the pool. Photos of him in the hot tub that were discovered in the Epstein files.
And what we're trying to get at is some context for the public on whether you remember this photo and any details you may be able to provide us about it. So do you recall the details of this photo, or recall the photo being taken?
No, I don't think I ever knew the photo was taken.
Okay, and for those who can't see it, it's a photo of you in a hot tub. There's a person next to you here. Do you remember where it was taken? Where was it taken?
I'm almost sure that this pic, and I think there's an adjacent photograph, which you probably have, that if people saw it, they would feel that someone was trying to con them showing this picture. But anyway, this picture was taken in Brunei. And we flew one night on a trip to Asia, the last very long leg.
You said we, is it, who is that including?
Well, my TIL team that was working
Thank you.
on the AIDS issue, and Mr. Epstein was there, and Miss Maxwell. But anyway, we got to the end of the flight was Brunei. It's a tiny place, but a very wealthy one, and the Sultan of Brunei was a man that I had gotten to know well in my 8 years as president. And his first involvement with international matters was basically to join the Asian Pacific Economic Leaders Conference, which I started and which he attended. And then he was very proud of that, and he hosted, his time came to host it. You know, you do these things in a rotation. And it came either at the very end of my term or maybe the next year.
It's so comfortable. It's somewhere over the course of the next 2 minutes, he makes the comment about how he was in the tub for 5 minutes. He was in the tub for 5 minutes. That's it. But of course, the big headline of the day for people who are paying attention to this particular thing is when Hillary Clinton was asked about the infamous life insurance, the life insurance folder that had been rumored to have been on the Wiener laptop. Life insurance. Say, what could that have meant? Could have meant, hey, if I'm ever in a pinch, I'm going to keep the worst possible thing I can as a trading chip against the people who, really have control over me. And in particular, Frazzle Drip. That was actually brought up. And, take a listen to this.
Are you aware of any files that were on Anthony Weiner's laptop in a folder that was titled insurance, life insurance?
Yes, I know exactly the one you're talking about.
With a zip file titled Frazzle.
This is way outside the scope. Ruling. This is way
within
outside
the scope.
Is this within the scope, Mr. Chairman?
If the chairman rules that it's not within the scope,
Mr. Chairman.
I mean, the reaction was immediate. And it's not like, let's be honest with each other. It's not like people in Hillary Clinton's position working in the capacity she has worked for so many years. Doesn't have staff, doesn't have her own, intelligence briefing. Just doesn't know exactly what's being said about her and what is being. I mean, they're all over the boards. You want to talk about the Fed posting and everything else that's been going on the Chans for however many years. So there is that. So even if you are not who we assume she is, the entire dossier that the internet alone has built on you over the years. I mean, he could barely get Frazzle out.
Based on what you said in the public hearing, is this within the scope?
We can go off the record for a moment.
Mr. Chairman, is this within the scope?
We'll go off the record and consult.
So they went off record and they talked about Frazzle Drip a little bit, It's not within the scope, no. So I guess that's it. So we got these moments. What comes of it? I don't know. Like I said, goofy jellyfish men. That's who are usually in control of these depositions and stuff like that. And I don't have any. If I were putting money on it, I would not put. I would bet that nothing happens. Though, of course, as you know, would love to see the entire sweater come unraveled. Okay, all right. Here's a couple of things. Now, I don't know if you guys know about this. Back to the Israel front, because this entire thing has been from the war that started over the weekend. You say it has begun. When does it end? From the war that has started over the weekend, these interview clips from a former CIA whistleblower. I think it's John Kyriaco, something like that. Kyriaco. Anywho, he's a former CIA, an intelligence officer, a whistleblower, and it's just getting around of him talking about this particular act and Israel's pressure that they put on the U.S. to go ahead and do it. And I thought it was interesting. I put it aside. We can listen to that. Take a listen to this.
Save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
What does
the
that mean?
Israelis said, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. Every president, from when I joined the CIA, George H.W. Bush had just become president, the Israelis asked us to bomb Iran. Every single president. No matter who the prime minister of Israel happens to be, you got to bomb Iran. You got to bomb Iran. You got to bomb Iran. And every single president said, no, we're not bombing Iran. Because our position was that would be the start of World War III. The reason, though, I'm told, that Donald Trump decided to bomb Iran, the Israelis said for the first time, if you don't bomb Iran to take out these deep bunkers, we're going to use nuclear weapons. And so Trump said, bombing Iran might actually save us from the start of World War III if it keeps the Israelis from using nuclear weapons.
So, I mean, you hear things like that, and you say, all right, well, once a spook, always a spook. Can you trust the guy? Because if what he's saying is true, so we bombed Iran just to prevent the Israelis from using a bigger bomb? I don't know. Why? That just doesn't sound right. And of course, Greater Israel is trending all over the place. People are wondering, is there really a situation where Israel doesn't see this as an opportunity to grow in some way, even if it's just influence and not actual physical borders? What does everybody want? What does everybody want? And the other obvious problem with this testimony, from whatever show it's on, I don't know. I saw a picture of the guy, the host. I have to imagine looked like a young kid, and I haven't seen anything else of this episode. But nuclear ambiguity is what we have gotten from Israel officially. That's the official stance, is nuclear ambiguity since like the 1960s. There's never been a formal admission to possessing any kind of nuclear weapons. There was never been that. And of course, this is one of the reasons that Jack Kennedy, among other people, have put themselves in hot water for not wanting Israel to go nuclear. And if this is true with what this CIA whistleblower John Kiriakou or Kiriakou is saying, if that's true, I mean, okay. Well, you're going to drop nuclear bombs that you don't officially have. That's very interesting. Makes you want to go back and re-examine the Julius and the Rosenberg timeline of events about whether or not it was really about the Soviet Union or Israel. And man, oh man, what the hell is true anymore? That's why this whole thing, I don't get outraged that much anymore. Don't get outraged. I just kind of, I just scoff. And I just wonder about other things. And you know, I feel like some people are paid to be overly emotional about everything, as if getting angry, collectively angry, is actually going to do anything. I mean, even if you got everybody really, really angry, what would it do? Usually when you're angry, you don't think straight. You know? It's one thing to be in the know, to learn, and to continue to learn. But keeping your head on straight, cool as a cucumber, all of a sudden you see other doors and windows and opportunities opening up to you. And I think I don't know what the hell comes of that, but it's definitely a lot more empowering. And you can actually put that information to use. As far as the whole, hey, listen, there's going to be a day for pitchforks and torches. Maybe, but I've never been one for trying to figure out when that's going to be. I kind of feel like that's one of those things where everybody's just going, well, if it comes to your door, you have to make a choice at some point, and that'll have to be a choice that is made in self-defense, and then hopefully you have some neighbors on your side. But I don't know where. I don't see any of this. This is just not making me outraged anymore. I'm not pleased with it, but I can't lose sleep. You guys can't lose sleep either. Can't. I don't know. Like I said, it's never as simple as liberating people. And if the American government really cared about doing the right thing for everyday people, it would pull every last penny of foreign aid from the world. It would deport like God knows how many millions of illegals. Shut the border. We've already got that going on. But shut the border until we can dismantle not only what's been going on in the interior with a lot of people who are unaccountable or are unaccounted for, but also dismantle the national security state. That would be great. That would be wonderful. Those are things I think about a lot. I don't care about desert tribes. I don't care about their ancient grievances. I don't even care about their sectarianism. I don't care about what they believe God has promised them. I don't care about the modern roots of their problems anymore. There's nothing we can do to even fix what we broke in the last 25 years or what was broken in our names. You and I didn't do any of this shit. There's no way to fix that. You just need to leave and leave. I don't know. It's got to be like 100 years to calm down. The issue here is when you think about, I mean, even like Iran and the arrival of what would become British petroleum and the installation of the Shah and everything else. That was in a time where, we were becoming globalized as far as the economy goes and shipping and how the entire world was coming together. Not globalism, but globalization. Things are so out of control as far as communication goes. And still the media is one of those things. It's an X factor. I've always talked about it. It's going to be used in our favor. Can we use it to break things down and to break the grip on narrative building and everything else and storytelling that's been in the news for so long, when it was just when so many parts of the world were not connected to each other? It'd be so easy to take 100-year breather with the Middle East and just let the dust settle from the last 25 years of shit. You know, the Arab Spring, everything that happened after 9/11, it'd be great. But we just see too much of each other on the internet. That's the problem. And man, the AI footage coming out of Iran, or what is supposed to be Iran, is insane. I mean, some of the stuff is so bad. You can tell it's being taken from straight up video games, and they're getting millions upon millions of views. And it's not even like older people are falling for it. It's just young. It's young people. It's young, emotional, outraged people who are so outraged. I mean, even in a calm state, you can be like, "Oh shit, you got me." But I mean, outraged when you want to prove that things are just getting worse and worse. It's just you have a bias to confirm. Man, oh man, what's happening right now? We've been talking about that internet kill switch for God knows how many years. This would be, it's like everybody needs at least 72 hours just to take it easy. Just a little bit of time. A little bit of time. But the other thing here too, I just want to throw this out there because we're going to start wrapping up in a little bit. When it comes to the whole idea of sleeper cells and who's taking orders from who's motivated by what would make a person go out there and act? Another thing that has gotten around is people on one show or another, or Instagram. I saw this on a few Instagram videos of people who have been really looking into Google searches that have popped up in really strange times, especially in places like Israel or wherever the hell it is. And it shows that there is some sort of almost like a preview to what happens, a big event that happens, whether it's the Charlie Kirk assassination or now what people say that there's a spike in Google searches about terrorist attacks in Disneyland. And I don't know where the hell that is. This was sent here. This one in particular, this is just one of a few that was sent my way. It was sent before the show started by a buddy of mine. And take it with a grain of salt. Look into it. And let me know what you find. But take care. Listen to this. If you're in podcast land, it should be clear enough for you.
So I think I know where the next false flag is going to happen. I think that the next false flag is going to be on U.S. soil at Disneyland. Most of you have seen this Google Analytics tool that people were searching Charlie's death before it happened. On November 28th in Israel, there was a spike in these keywords, Disneyland terrorist. And also around the same region, they were searching Disneyland bombing. Also, again, there was a Disneyland ISIS spike in searches. I believe that the next attack is going.
So, I mean, Google searches tells you a whole lot. They can tell you a whole lot about the history of just organized, community organizing in this country, especially as you expanded over the course of years, and you see what gets popular, Black Lives Matter searches and relevancy on the internet and all that stuff, how it really only arises and gets popular again every time that there is a midterm or a presidential election. So those tools, they can't be completely discounted. I don't know what could explain something like that. And of course, to put it out there, you hope if that was a plot, hopefully it was, maybe that's something that diffuses it a little bit more. But still, if you have any reason why that stuff would pop up, you let me know, because eyes darting all over the place right now, darting all around. Israel hacked security cameras, phones to track Khamenei from the Financial Times. Israel spent years hacking Tehran's traffic cameras and penetrating mobile phone networks to monitor the movements of Iran's supreme leader, Khamenei. Or what did Trump call him? Khamenei? Shenenei? And his security detail ahead of his assassination, the Financial Times reported, citing multiple current and former Israeli intelligence officials and other people familiar with the operation. Nearly all traffic cameras in Tehran had been hacked for years, with footage encrypted and transmitted to servers in Tel Aviv and southern Israel, according to two people familiar with the matter cited by the newspaper. One camera angle proved particularly useful in determining where bodyguards parked their personal cars and provided insight into the routines inside the compound near Pasteur Street. One of the people said complex algorithms were used to add details to dossiers on members of Khamenei's security guards. Let me see here, including their addresses, duty hours, routes to work, and which officials they were assigned to protect. What building what intelligence officers called a pattern of life, according to the report, which is probably why the strikes and all that stuff primarily happened in the morning time. Everybody's getting up to work. They got to be at their 9 o'clock meeting as usual for tea and crumpets, and boom, all gone. A current unnamed Israeli intelligence official told the newspaper that long before the strike, quote, "We knew Tehran like we knew Jerusalem," describing a dense intelligence picture built through data collection involving Israel's Signals Intelligence Unit 8200, human sources recruited by Mossad, and analysis by military intelligence. So there's that. Captain at Cast Iron says, "Hi, I love your insults. Jellyfish people." Well, that's what they feel like to me. I don't expect anything big from them. And Genie Yankee Fan just made 5 more people on Twitch monthly subscribers of Quite Frankly. Just remember, everybody, you are now linked to the Discord, especially the Cigars and Brandy Room. And in there, pinned to the top of that, is the new members-only section password for the spring of 2026. So go ahead and check it out. Genie Yankee Fan just made you a subscriber, and enjoy it over the course of the next month. This Friday night, we have a film club watch party. It's going to be great. We're watching Sherlock Holmes, jam-packed full of all types of occult and magical goodies. You're going to love this one. So become a sponsor. It's the 20th year of broadcasting for me, and a big year. I would love to have more of you involved. And it doesn't take that much. You can punch your ticket to all of that stuff that we do extra for the members for just as little as $5 a month. QuiteFrankly.tv/sponsor. And thank you. And with that, let us now just see who the hell won all this damn products from KetoBrainz.com. Here is our big winner of the night. Where the hell are they? Wait a second. It was texted to me about an hour before I came to the studio. And I don't really, do I recognize anybody? I don't think so. The grand prize winner, ladies and gentlemen, KetoBrainz.com. This is about $800 worth of stuff. The red light mask, all types of products, the ancestral bone broth, including, swag and everything else. Phil Leah is the grand prize winner. Now we got 3 runners up. We're going to get an extra bag of Keto Brainz, the wonderful creamy nootropic finisher, the creamer. I went like triple on it today. I said I want more. I can't stand how much I like it. I hate it. Colleen Bryan, and everybody's going to get a 20th anniversary shirt too. So hopefully I get all of their addresses as well. Kadeem Walsh and Dorothy Bliss. Congratulations to the grand prize winner, Phil Leah, and the 3 runners-up, Colleen Bryan, Kadeem Walsh, and Dorothy Bliss. And listen, if you didn't win, it doesn't matter. You won still because you've got Keto Brainz in your cupboards and in your coffee or in your yogurt or wherever the hell you're putting it in there, and your brain is thanking you. So check it out. And if you want to try some, email me, frank@quitefrankly.tv. I'm sending them out. And we got more good stuff to do this month. Okay. Well, that's it for tonight, everybody. That's it for tonight. I'm going to go over to the flip side now, and we are going to do a little bit of a real poll, and I want to take a little bit more time talking to you guys, and it should be good. Tomorrow night, I'm working on a couple of guests that I think would be great to bring on, especially if we can get esoteric with it, get into a little bit more of a symbolic, ritualistic deep dive. But I'll keep you updated on that. Wednesday's going to be fun. Thursday's going to be great. This weekend is going to be really a lot of fun. I'm going to be at Chrissy Mayer's studio on Saturday night for an 8 o'clock stream. So that should be interesting. And then the next 2 Saturdays, I'll be live for Saturday night specials. and Playhouse on Friday nights, on Friday the 13th, and then Friday the 20th. A lot going on in March, including the arrival of spring. Okay, guys. Okay, gals. Thanks for everything, and I will see you all tomorrow. Follow us over to the flip side. The link is in the chat room. And if you can't find the link, just go to quitefrankly.tv and press play. It's always good to let your hair down on the flip side.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
All right. Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience, and now our super chatters, starting with Captain Cast Iron, Fed Chair Arthur. I didn't even see this. Sorry, Fed Chair. I always believe the official government narrative. Good boy. Good. Jay Britz, Stostube, Ashley Snow, the dude from 65, Dragon Sage, Joricho, Joe Martinez, and more. Thank you, guys and gals. I will see you tomorrow. Email me, leave a voicemail, and please like, comment, subscribe, put the notifications on wherever you watch. Do not lurk. Never lurk.
Really went downhill after the World Trade Center. You know, Quasimodo predicted all this.
Who did what?
All these problems, the Middle East, the end of the world.
Nostradamus. Quasimodo's the hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, right. Nostradamus.
Nostradamus and Notre Dame. It's two different things completely.
It's interesting, though, to be so similar, isn't it? Then I always thought, okay, hunchback at Notre Dame. You also got your quarterback and your halfback at Notre Dame.
When's a fucking cathedral?
Obviously, I know. I'm just saying. It's interesting, the coincidence. What? You gonna tell me you never pondered that? The back thing with Notre Dame?
No.